welcome to the Play Choices podcast, a podcast you hear. I'm your host, V.
And I'm Cath. V has had me in her basement since I last appeared, and she finally took me out for some vitamin D, and I'm not sure if it's sunlight or Sam's strap.
Because we're inclusive here, and we recognize that Sam can either be a man or a woman. Did you play Sam as a man or a woman? This is an interesting question for me to ask.
I played Sam as a woman. I was watching the playthrough on YouTube, and the white male version of Sam looks disturbingly like Ethan Ramsey.
I gotta look this up now. Hold on one second. Because I've never played with the white male version of Sam, so I gotta look this up.
I wasn't looking for that when I was looking for a YouTube playthrough, but that's what I got.
Literally all of the YouTube playthroughs always are like white males. I don't know what it is. Also, I just looked up like the choices like fandom page, and it's when you pull up Sam Dalton on it, it says this page may contain sensitive content not suitable for the public's family setting or workplace environment.
Oh my God.
It's just a wiki page. Like how raunchy does this get?
That's just the wiki page. Oh my God.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I'm looking at his face and I see it. We've gotten like really off track. Like I don't know how we got here. We're talking about the Nanny Affair, so obviously we're going to be discussing the Nanny Affair in this episode. And if you haven't listened to episodes, I think it's 9 and 13 is where you jump in and guest host, right? I should not ask you what the numbers are. I don't even think you would remember.
I failed fractions in the 4th grade, so no, I'm
Right.
not good with numbers.
So, Cath had previously guest hosted with us on like a choices chat, and she's filling in. She's going to be in the passenger side seat for this episode. So thank you so much for lending me your time.
Yeah,
and
thanks for
joining
locking me in your basement.
Yeah, I fed her good. Mozzarella sticks, fries, burgers. You got good meals. Like probably a 3.5 star restaurant down there, I would say. Not a 5-star exactly, but 3.5 star.
Needed just a little bit of parsley, but that's it.
Yeah, a little bit of garnish would have been nice, but hey, that's what happens when you come to a basement that's missing that 1.5 star. You're not gonna get the garnish on anything. Okay, let me try to reel this in. Okay. So we're going to spend this episode discussing chapters 5 through 7 of the Nanny Affair Book 1. This episode is obviously not going to be spoilers safe for the Nanny Affair, so if you want to avoid any spoilers from chapters 1 through 7 of this book, please go read those first, and then the episode is going to be here whenever you decide to come back and listen. And as the wiki page forewarned, this is a 17 plus rated book. It discusses like sexual content. It's called the Nanny Affair. There's sex involved in it. So if you're uncomfortable with the discussion of sexual activities or mature activities, then I would advise that you join us on a different episode where we're not discussing a book that contains a type of content. Yeah, we get real explicit here. Did you have a chance to listen to our last The Nanny Fair episode?
Oh my God, yeah.
Just saying the word pussy like 35 times. It's fine. Are you ready for that? Did you have anything you wanted to preface before, other than me keeping you in my basement?
Everything's just like gonna come with the story, I'm pretty sure. So
Yeah. All right, so let's just jump right in. So we're going to start with chapter 5. It's titled The Engagement Party. As a reminder, the MC's default name is Anna, so we're going to be referring to the MC for the duration of the episode. And the chapter summary says, Sam and Sophia's engagement party is finally here. Will you be able to handle the heat?
Probably not.
Probably not. We'll see. I mean, spoiler alert, Anna cannot. She absolutely cannot take any amount of drama that comes from these two, which is fair. It's quite a ridiculous situation to end up in.
She's very sensitive.
She's a very sensitive character. I mean, she made eye contact with her boss in chapter 1 and almost cried when she found out that Sam was engaged. So, It doesn't bode well.
Like, if you're getting a master's in chemistry, I think you're gonna have to like be like a little bit like stable.
I see what you did there.
Wait, oh, I didn't realize I made a pun. I'm slow on the uptake.
This is fine. Okay, so we're gonna pick up from the last chapter. Sam walked in on Anna and Robin having, what appears to be an intimate moment. I think Anna spilled like some alcohol on herself, and Robin was like trying to help her clean up. So Robin will explain that Anna spilled a drink on herself, which very quickly clears up any confusion. It's almost like I don't even know what the point of that cliffhanger was, because there wasn't really like any real drama that came from it, like in the beginning of this chapter.
I feel like they lifted that from Victorious.
Did that happen in Victorious? I don't
Yeah,
remember.
the pilot episode, like Tori spills coffee on Beck, or she spills his coffee on him. She's like, "Oh my god, I'm so sorry." And she starts like rubbing his like shirt with her sleeve, and Jade comes in. She's like, "Why are you rubbing my boyfriend?" And we all know who that went.
Yes. Yes, now I'm remembering this. I feel like that is a common trope, but I just feel like, I don't know, I wish it had manifested itself in some other way. I mean, Sam did seem pretty like irritated, but I think he's just been irritated with Robin from like the beginning of the book. It's very weird because it's like Robin describes their relationship as like, "Oh, we're basically siblings," and then like Sam kind of like hates Robin. I'm like, up to chapter 7, like, I mean, I don't remember the dialogue throughout the entire book because it's like something like 22 chapters or something like that, I think is like the final chapter count. It's in the 20s. But like throughout this entire time, Sam hasn't really said anything like favorable about Robin, whereas in chapter 4, Robin was like pretty complimentary to Sam, despite like acknowledging the fact that Sam has had like a very like spoiled life, basically.
Well, I don't know. I mean, Sam's spoiled, so of course they're gonna be like, "Oh, Robin, you're
Yeah,
terrible." So if anything out of that dynamic, I mean, I think it's kind of what you'd expect.
I guess, yeah. I don't know. Maybe it's just, yeah. I have a very friendly relationship with my siblings, but yeah, I guess if I don't really know, man.
With my sibling, let's just say that when there's conflict, we just act like nothing happened and move on.
Mm.
But we'd probably give each other a kidney if needed.
It's just interesting because like Sam has had literally nothing good to say about Robin, and like there's multiple times where like Sam pulls Anna and Sam is like, "Is Robin bothering you? Is Robin harassing you?" And it's like, what do you know about your sibling that like I don't know? Like you're treating Robin like a criminal. It doesn't make any sense. But yeah, so like Sam, I think before this scene was like just generally kind of pissed off about Anna having to spend any type of time with Robin, and it does like this whole situation doesn't really help all that much. So once the entire rubbing up on Anna thing is like cleared up, Sam will pivot and ask how the party planning is going. The group will exchange some like quick jabs about Sophia's like very particular party instructions as she left for Anna and Robin. And then there's a diamond scene where Sam will offer to take Anna home. Do you, because did you actually replay these chapters? You just like replay, you say you just replay them on YouTube, right?
Yeah, I watched the YouTube thing, and
Gotcha.
they paid diamonds, and
Did you
it was
watch the scene?
yes, it was cringe.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'll just like very quickly describe what happens. And there are certain interactions that I don't know if they still happen if you don't take the diamond option, because there's like a kind of pre-scene interaction where Anna can like try to make Sam jealous with Robin like again, but I don't know if that happens if you take the free option. For some unknown reason, I don't know what it was. Like I remember enjoying the Nanny Affair when I first played it, but when I was like replaying it, I'm actually realizing I took quite a few of the diamond options, and I'm like pretty surprised at myself because I don't know what mindset I was in when this released, that I was like Yeah, let me take all of these diamond options because, like, if it were me today, like, I would never buy any of them. But replaying it, I am discovering that I apparently spent a lot of diamonds on this book. So if you take the scene, there is an option for Anna to like try to decide whether Sam is like actually jealous of Robin. So Anna can choose to call Robin either by Robin's name or call Robin cutie. What I'm assuming in your YouTube playthrough they probably went with the baiting option for
Oh
Sam and called
yeah.
Robin cutie. Yeah.
These YouTube playthrough people just fan the fire and
Yeah, they pick all the romantic options, yeah. What would you have done?
I don't know. Well, Robin's just a lot more likable than Sam, in my opinion. Like later on in the
Yes.
Diamond scene, like Sam's talking about like, oh, like I don't want Robin to be like this with you because I see you as my responsibility. And on my little notes, I just wrote responsibility in quote marks and wrote fuck off, LMAO.
Fuck off. Yeah, it's very weird because like you have like a quote unquote sexual relationship. I guess it depends on like what options you've picked up to this point, but like ideally at this point I'm assuming Choices is making the assumption that so far Anna has been like hot and heavy and like trying to get Sam to have sex with her, right?
When did things start though? Like I just looked at it. Like when did the whole like getting hot and heavy with each other but not going all the way start? Like I'm
It was
confused
like
about
chapter 2 because
Oh my
that's when
god.
they got into an argument about Anna taking the twins on a subway. And she was like, "You need to find somewhere for all your passion." And Sam was like, "Do you have a suggestion for how I should let out my passion?" And they just like made out and like basically just unbuttoned like Sam's shirt and were like making out on the countertop. And then like Sophia called and interrupted. And ever since then, they've just been interlocked in this pattern of just like being real touchy with each other, but not actually having sex.
It's so weird, like just seeing them like openly talking about like, oh, this is why we can't like they. I can't decide if they're openly talking about it or just tiptoeing around it. It's so weird.
It feels like they're tiptoeing it,
And
especially
like,
Sam. I feel like Anna's more willing to kind of be like, especially come chapter 7, Anna gets like really pissed off about the whole thing and like calls it out, and Sam is just kind of tiptoeing around it.
oh, Sam Dalton.
Sam Dalton, billionaire, hottie, dumbass.
So basically, nothing actually happens in the limo, huh?
Correct. Since you mentioned that. So just to rewind very quickly, if Anna does call Robin cutie, Sam will be upset and Robin will just comment that, it's kind of unusual that Sam is like getting this upset because normally Sam seems a little peeved but doesn't actually get this upset about their flirting with anybody. And obviously I think Robin obviously knows what's going on here, but at this point Robin is just choosing not to really say anything about it. Okay, so they'll go into the limo. Sam will ask Anna about Robin's behavior and will act concerned about whether Robin is bothering Anna. And then Sam will say that Anna is their responsibility, as you pointed out, which is why Sam is concerned. Sam will request that Anna tells them if Robin crosses the line again and will admit that they do partially want to keep Anna to themselves. So the scene will escalate into like Sam basically fingering Anna in the car, but the moment will be cut short as the car stops and they arrive at the apartment.
Nothing important.
Ugh. These diamond scenes in these next few chapters are like actually kind of painful because I remember like I had bought the scene, so I was like, sure, whatever, I'll fucking play through it. And I played through it and there's this really interesting dialogue option where after Sam asks Anna like basically if Robin is harassing them, and there's basically like one choice, and I wish I could remember exactly what the dialogue option was, but there's Anna tells Sam like you're acting like really unusually possessive. And I was like, man, I'm gonna click that because I want to call Sam out on their bullshit behavior. But then like the follow-up dialogue from Anna is like, oh, that's kind of hot. And I'm like, that's
Oh,
not what I was like going for like at all with that one. Like I kind of want to call Sam on their bullshit because it's like you can't have me and Sophia. Like, you can't have both of these relationships. And it's just like, even when you try to call Sam out on their bullshit, like, it always ends up being flirty. I
You
fucking
never
hate
get
that.
to challenge Sam, to be honest. Like, well, not unless you're like you decide to buy diamonds later on. You don't really get to challenge Sam, and
Yeah.
like a partner probably should be able to do.
Yeah.
Like,
It feels like inevitably every option ends with Anna giving in to Sam, which is just like, it's so ridiculous because they're so early on into this whole interaction that the idea that like Anna feels like she can't just walk away from the situation or just like stop the flirting and stuff, like it's painful. In short, it's like really actually painful to like read how like fake trapped Anna is in this entire affair. Like, it's just like, realistically, I understand like it's called the Nanny Affair. They like need her to feel this like magnetic pull to Sam in order for it to even make sense why she's in this, but just from like a realistic perspective, I'm like, ugh. Okay, before we get on with the rest of the chapter, let me interrupt with some plugs. So you can leave us a voice message at anchor.fm/play-choices-podcast/message. It could show up in a future episode. You can also directly support this podcast at anchor.fm/play-choices-podcast/support. If we haven't convinced you yet, listen to this amazing, amazing commercial that Lucas and I put together for you. It
In
takes
the
me
arms
hours.
of an angel.
It takes me, no, keep singing. It takes me
I
hours to record. No, keep doing it.
here
It takes me
are
hours to record and edit this podcast.
wherever you
And
are.
with your donation
I believe
of
that
$1 a
my
month
heart will
could save V from
go
smashing her fucking head
on.
into a wall.
Why does the heart
Thank you
go?
so much. And back to our episode. Also, the further that I play into this book, the more that I'm like, why did I like this book so much? Because now that I'm replaying it, I just don't like it as much as I used to.
I don't know, maybe the novelty wore off or something.
Yeah, it's probably the replaying of it where I'm like, this is just kind of dumb now.
Nothing wrong with dumb shit. It's just
There's
that.
nothing wrong with dumb shit. You can enjoy dumb shit. I just, for whatever reason, I think like with the time in between finishing the book and like restarting it, I think I like built it in my head to be something that I'm replaying it and I'm like, I'm not understanding what the appeal was, but I think the thing that I did really like about this book and something I continue to like about this book is at least the dynamic between Anna and Robin, which we'll get into when we get into like the further chapters.
Yes.
Okay, so diamond scene, I'm giving a thumbs down. Think you're giving a thumbs down. I like when I was like, Sam fingers Anna, and you're like, ugh. You're like, no.
I'm not sex negative. I'm just against poorly written erotica.
I just felt bad for Carter mostly because I was like, I know they put the divider down to give him some privacy, but like, really, how soundproofed is this vehicle? Because like in the actual scene, every single time like they get hot and heavy, Anna's like, Sam, like screaming, and I'm like, I feel
Wait,
so bad.
I thought she was just like, oh, Sam, like
Maybe
whatever
we're
the hell that.
maybe I'm putting my own twist on it, but I at least know there's a scene like in the rooftop. I also love that we just did like porn ASMR. But there's like a scene when they're on the rooftop in chapter 8 where like you have the option to just like scream Sam's name. And I'm like, why would you do that? Oh god. Later Anna goes shopping with Jenny for an outfit for the engagement party, and Anna will tell Jenny, basically what's happened with Sam since the last time they talked.
Does Jenny have a life outside of Anna?
No, I'm convinced no. I am absolutely convinced not, because the way that like Jenny speaks about this, it just seems like really way too intense. That's why I say I think Jenny could be such a great character, but she's just like, Anna, aren't you so horny when you see Sam? Like, I feel like that's all of her dialogue options.
I don't know if this is because of like that song that got big on TikTok, but I just keep thinking like maybe Jenny's like secretly in love with Anna, and that's why she's so invested, you know? That's not gonna happen.
It's not gonna happen, but man, wouldn't it be great if Jenny was like a surprise ally in like book 2? It's like the most random shit ever. And that's the thing, like throughout the duration of the book, you like never really talk to Jenny that much, and I'm like, are we gonna? I wonder if book 2 is gonna like force us to like plan a wedding with Sam or something, and I'm assuming Jenny will be pretty involved in that process if that were to happen, because I then she would probably be like the what did the
Maid
I'm
of
forgetting
honor.
her. Yes, maid of honor.
Oh, poor Jenny.
No, she's
She's
gonna
too good.
continue to be a sideline character.
She's too good for this book.
She is too good for this book, but also somehow like one of the worst friends and choices I've ever heard. Just constantly being like, "Don't you want to fuck him?"
Don't you want this fucking outfit?
Yes, she would. I'm leaving you outfits in your closet, but you still have to pay 25 diamonds. So when she's telling Jenny about everything that's happened with Sam so far, she can either say she will have Sam no matter what, or that she needs to control herself. I feel like probably both of us are on the thing of like, you need to control yourself.
Yeah, like I will have him for my like. Okay, those dialogue choices would make sense if Anna was like a lot more interesting of a character. Like I was thinking about this today, and I was like, this book would be so much more interesting if she was somebody who had gotten into an affair with a professor in order to get her master's degree, and then was like, I'm going to get in charge of a lot of like wealth and
Mm,
shit, and was like, no, we don't need a prenup, Sam, and just like fucking did that in order to get ahead in life. And you know what? I'd fucking respect that grind, but no, Anna's supposed to be good in this situation.
yeah, because they have the whole conflict of like, Sophia's a terrible person, and that's why Anna deserves to be with Sam, and that's why the boys deserve to have Anna as their new stepmother, because Anna's such a good person compared to like Sophia's terrible bitchiness. But like, if you had like an actual, and that's what I think Lucas and we talked about that like in a prior episode, like if Anna was just like a little bit more kind of like, quote unquote, like not so morally ethically motivated to be like, Sophia doesn't deserve you, Sam, you're such
Like,
a good person. You deserve to be in love again. If she was actually like trying to manipulate the situation into her benefit, I think it would be a so much more interesting story.
yeah, she has very little driving her except for, wow, Sam's really hot, and also I fucking hate Sophia. And you know what? These kids are kind of okay.
Yeah, it is very strange too because she's like this very intelligent person who has like a master's degree, and like I don't really see any like career aspirations throughout the book, honestly. It's like all of her kind of tours of like Dalton, is it Dalton Inc. or Dalton, I think it's Dalton Inc. I can't remember.
Whatever.
Whatever whatever company Sam is in line to be CEO of. It's like every single time that he's like, "Oh, let me help you like further your career. Let's go on a tour and I'll show you all the like crazy shit that we're working on." Anna's like, "How can I also suck Sam off in the middle of the lab?"
Girl, you're not even supposed to take off your fucking like safety goggles in a lab. What makes you think you can whip out somebody's genitals?
Open out her whole lips, everything and all. Of the lab.
Oh
We're
my god.
definitely giving slight spoilers for later books, but I mean, is it really that surprising that they fuck in like a professional setting? I mean, not really. So, yeah, I think both of us agree that we think that Anna needs to fucking control herself.
Oh, yep.
And then of course, because you're out with Jenny and Jenny's like a fashionista, this is an opportunity for a splurge or a skip. So I believe I emailed you the outfit. Let me know
Yes.
if you got it.
Yeah, I actually kind of like this dress a little bit. It looks like
It's pretty
something that
cute.
like I would actually kind of want to wear. I mean,
It's
I'm
pretty
not super into jewelry personally, but it's not it's kind of cute, you know?
Yeah. So the outfit is called Rules of Engagement, and the description
Oh
is
my god.
outshine. I
The
know.
book title.
I know. And then the description is outshine the bride to be, and the stunning outfit is 25 diamonds. It actually is really nice. It is basically like a light baby blue colored dress that has like thin shoulder straps, but there's like, is that embroidery? Is that the right way to describe that type of fabric?
It looks like kind of like a lace or
Yeah.
knit lace overlay or something.
Yeah. And then on the outside edges of each strap are like, that definitely looks like it was, yeah, I would say that's embroidery or like some sort of crochet or something.
Yeah, it looks like lace.
They have like other types of fabric that's kind of, it sits on her shoulder like a shoulder pad would, but it's much more cute than a shoulder pad, I promise.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the dress underneath is like the same color of baby blue, and then overlaid on top of it is like this lace pattern that is very similar to the lace pattern that's on the kind of like shoulder pad part of it. And then from a jewelry standpoint, it's just basically silver jewelry. It's like this kind of thick, kind of clunky silver like jewels necklace, and then a bracelet in a very similar design. It's actually not the worst outfit I've seen on Choices by any means.
Pretty unproblematic.
Yeah, unproblematic.
I'm a skip though.
Yeah, I skipped too.
It's cute, but it ain't worth it. And the navy blue dress is just fine, you know?
It's a cute dress, but like, do I really want to try to compete with Sophia or her engagement party? Like, it just feels very like tacky.
Yeah, it's just not very classy. It's not very polite, and it's just gonna make Anna look like a worse person by
Exactly.
doing that.
Like, if you're trying to fight the fiance at her own engagement party, like, you're not going to be the person who comes out like looking good in that situation at all. So yeah, I definitely skipped. Not as terrible as the splurger skip that we had in the last episode, but also I don't love it so much that I like wanted to spend diamonds on it per se. So later, Anna will arrive at the engagement party. Anna will go with Robin to get drinks, and then Robin will flirt with Anna, and then kind of like whispers in Anna's ear, like, I really love seeing Sam get so pissed off.
Well, like, okay, but like they bring the kids to the engagement party, and I have a bone to pick with that.
Oh, feel free.
Like, okay, they're like what, 7? Who expects a 7-year-old to behave well at just like any high class party? Like, I get that you probably want your kids there, but you have to recognize they're not old enough to behave well. They're probably not going to like it. There's nothing for them to do. They're going to get into mischief. Like, just be like, hey guys, I love you, but it's probably just best if you stay at home. I don't think you'll really like this kind of thing. And there's also paparazzi outside. You do not expose 7-year-old children to that. Like, I don't know. I've had an encounter where I was at a funeral for a family member, and some more distant family members were like 6-year-olds or 7-year-olds or whatever, and they decided that they didn't really know how to behave at a funeral like after thing. So I just don't believe in taking children that young to a more serious occasion,
Yeah. And especially like Sam has Anna. So like Sam could have been like, let's just sit this one out. Can you just like stay home with the boys?
Yeah. That would have been like perfectly fine. That's why Anna is there.
Yeah. She's literally the nanny.
Oh, and one thing I did notice was that so Anna is dressed in blue, so is Sam, while Sophia is dressed in pink, and Robin is wearing red. So I don't know if they were trying to be clever with that, but I did notice that. So I don't know if I'm being smarter than Pixelberry here or not, or if they're just like, oh yes, somebody caught on to that.
Right. No, that's a good find. That's a good find. I enjoy that. I didn't notice that when I was playing through it all. I mean, I did notice that Anna and Sam were wearing the same color outfits, but I didn't put together Sophia and Robin. That's interesting. Oh yeah, and then like in chapter 4, when you're planning the party with Robin, I mean like Robin and Anna are literally sitting there being like, man, like there's nothing fun about this party that's gonna be like entertaining for children. So like I mean, Sophia had like this really like gourmet food too, where she had the option to like try to cater something that was a little bit less formal, I would say, but there's just really nothing about the party that was like friendly for the kids. Like,
yeah, the kids just did not need to be there, and they also did not need to just have paparazzi taking pictures of them.
yeah.
It's just, I really question Sam's parenting decisions with that.
Don't feed them toaster tarts and don't take them on the subway, but I will expose them to paparazzi. So going back to that, Anna will realize that she lost track of the twins and she will run to find them in the kitchen, and they're preparing a prank where they cover balloons in cake to get Sophia to cut it into the balloons and get it to explode on her. So did you This is such a ridiculous scene. Did you, in your playthrough of the Nanny Affair, help them with their prank? Do you remember?
I don't remember, but my instinct would be like, no, listen, I'm here to fucking get you kids to behave. You guys shouldn't be here anyway. And this is just gonna make the situation worse. Like you said, like if you're trying to fuck with Sophia at her own engagement party, you do not look good. You just
Yeah.
don't.
Here's my feelings about the entire situation. Is Sophia a bitch? Yeah. Like, especially in these first couple of chapters, she's super unlikable. I don't necessarily think that that means that, like, we need to bully her by any
Yeah.
means or, like, publicly embarrass. Like, someone can be a bad person and you can still walk away, especially as the adult in this situation. To me, it's super fucking inappropriate to, like, condone and help the twins with this behavior. And then the other thing too is like I went ahead with the prank for this playthrough just to, like, see how it played out, but, like, the cake that they make out of the balloon is, like, the shittiest fucking cake I've ever seen. Even Sophia, before she cuts into it, is like, "What the fuck is this?" And then the other issue that I have with it is, like, I haven't been to enough parties where they, like, cut open a cake formally in order for me to, like, know what type of knife that they have, but usually the knife that they use to, like, slice the cake is the actual, like, device that you use to pick up a slice of cake, right? I don't know what that's called. I don't know if that's like a cake
Yeah.
spatula. I'll call it a cake spatula. But those aren't normally super sharp, right? Like
They're not.
it's just blunt enough to cut through a soft piece of cake. So what I really imagine realistically, what I imagine happening in this scenario is Sophia, like, cutting into the center and her like spatula just rolling off the side of the cake and, like, the balloon just, like, falling to the side of the floor.
And
Like,
like the balloon probably like would just you just your spatula would just stop and you're just like, what the hell? And then she'd complain to the manager about the cake.
yeah. Like, I don't really see it now. I don't know. Maybe in the dialogue they specify that she was holding, like, a Michelin star knife, like some sharp ass knife that the moment that it touched the balloon it explodes. But, like, when I was thinking through this prank, like when the twins were describing it and Anna was like, "Fuck yeah, I'll help you," I was like, "How are we doing this?" I was like, even logistically, this doesn't sound like it's a good idea. Like, this just sounds like it's gonna be like a really awkward moment while everyone waits for the cake.
It's so poorly thought out.
It's
Twins
very
do
poorly
better.
thought out. Yeah, I agree. If you decide to do the prank, the cake will explode all over Sophia. She'll excuse herself, go to the bathroom, clean herself up. Honestly, it just kind of made me feel bad. She's
Yeah,
a
and the
bitch, but, like, no one deserves to be embarrassed at a party where there's paparazzi.
yeah, and the kids get sent home and it's like, they
Shouldn't have
shouldn't have
been there
been
in the
here
first place.
anyway. But do they get sent home if you don't do the prank? Because
I have no
otherwise, like,
idea. I have no idea. I was also wondering that, but because I chose to do the prank on this playthrough, and then, like, of course, every YouTube video playthrough of it also has them doing the prank, I have no idea.
so I guess
We'll never know. I hope they do find a way to send them home because the rest of the chapters, like the rest of the plot of this engagement party is, like, not,
kids
I
should
don't
not
think,
be there.
yes. Kids should not have been there in the first place, but especially with what happens next. Before we continue with the rest of the episode, I do want to remind everyone that if you have any questions, theories, or comments that you would like to be included in a future episode, please email us at playchoicespodcast@gmail.com. Make sure to specify whether you want to be shouted out or not, otherwise all emails will be anonymous. Questions can be related to books we've recorded episodes on, books that we haven't discussed yet, or even questions that you'd like to ask us. Alternatively, you can go to our Ask box on playchoicespodcast.tumblr.com and submit a question. Just specify that it's for the podcast and we'll be sure to include it. And back to our episode. Okay, so after the cake cutting, Sam will ask Anna to dance. Anna will mention all of the times where her and Sam have previously been, intimate, close to physically, getting to the next step. And Sam will suggest that they should find different dance partners. So it's actually a diamond option to keep dancing with Sam. What would you have done? Would you have bought the diamond option or would you have stayed away from it?
Now, during the dance scene, I was like listening to the music and I was like, reading the fucking dance moves they do, and I was like, what the fuck kind of dance is this? For context, I'm a ballroom dancer. I'm not like an expert or anything, but like I was like, okay, this music sounds like a Viennese waltz, but literally none of this is Viennese waltz stuff. And I was like, this sounds like a really, really sexual tango, but like this isn't like an Argentinian tango, which originally came from like prostitutes interacting with clients or something along that effect. So it's a weird ass dance, and I'm just like, I kept thinking like, please stay one Bible length away from each other.
If you do take the scene, there's like a lot of options for Anna to like grind against Sam, and it's just very inappropriate. Like in the middle of a dance floor at his engagement, well, sits their engagement party, in the middle of the dance floor at their engagement party, just grinding on each other.
You can get away with it if it's a tango, but like it sounded like they were fucking slow dancing or whatever.
It really didn't even seem like they were sticking to like one type of dance, because you can do a dance that's like sillier and will like make Sam smile, or you can do a dance where you're just basically like rubbing your ass on the front of their pants. Like it doesn't, there's not really a dance style there, and it's kind of embarrassing to read through. So, I mean, again, Cath, for whatever reason, I bought this scene when I first played through the book, so I went ahead and played through it. And I will say, it's just really like a lot of like Sam being like, ugh, I'm just so attracted to you, I can't stay away from you. Like a lot of the same bullshit that Sam always says. And then them just like fucking grinding together in public. So I guess if you're really into the Sam romance, the scene could be worth it. But for me, it's just like a lot of, it feels like edging.
The stuff
To
that
be honest.
Sam and Anna do together in those diamond scenes reminds me of like when I'm like over at somebody's like a romantic person connections place, and like they're like, oh, it's getting late and I know I have to leave, but I don't want to leave, so I'll just like start doing weird shit so I can stay a little bit longer.
Start doing weird shit. You start grinding on?
I plead the fifth.
Okay. Yeah, no, it's kind of funny because Sam's like, we should find different dance partners, and like I don't know how from a dialogue standpoint Anna wiggles her way out of that suggestion, but she somehow forces a dance with Sam regardless.
She's like, this song isn't over yet, it'll look weird.
Yeah, it would look so weird, and Sam and then Anna's like, you know what will gather much less attention if I rub my tits on your chest.
And honestly, Anna doesn't look very well endowed, so I don't think that would work that
are
well.
any of the female MCs ever just rubbing her tits right on Sam? That's basically what the diamond scene is. So if I had to wrap up like what all of these diamond scenes are, it's just Anna like rubbing her tits on Sam, basically.
Taking off her panties, just being
taking
like,
off her panties. Everything.
You want dinner served, bitch.
Oh my god.
Gets on top of the fridge.
Oh my god. All right, we're going into slow burn territory.
Oh, I haven't read that book, but you know what? That sounds wild.
I haven't read it either, but I really hope there's. Well, let's not get into it. Okay. So Robin will interrupt the dance and then ask to talk to Anna, and then we'll be left off on that cliffhanger. So let's just go ahead and immediately jump to chapter 6. It's called The Toast. Chapter summary is tempers flare as the engagement party rages on. I wouldn't just necessarily describe the party as a rager, but will you be the one who gets burned? So Robin will pull Anna away from Sam, saying that the conversation seemed like it was getting pretty intense for it happening in public. So Robin just kind of saving the day. And then Robin continues to kind of like flirt with Anna because, again, Robin is really enjoying pissing Sam off. It's very, I don't know. I guess I'm just not quite relating to or understanding their relationship at all.
One thing I kind of am irritated with Sam about is that they're like, with Anna, it's like, oh my god, Robin's a womanizer. Robin can't stick to like one person. And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, but non-committal doesn't mean that they can't, be kind, be good to somebody if during their involvement,
Also, what fucking foot does Sam get off on when like literally all of those things apply to Sam too?
Like Sam is not, gonna legitimately treat Anna better. Anna's a fucking like side piece secret, It's
Yes.
at least with Robin, Anna would be the center of attention for however long or short that they're involved,
Yeah, I mean that's like something that is pretty alluring if you're looking at it from like a casual relationship standpoint, which like I don't think Anna's looking at Robin. I mean, I know Anna is not looking at Robin like he's a forever thing, but like at least Robin gives you 110% of them when you're there with Robin. You know what I mean? And like that is very attractive for a lot of people to feel like someone's present. But like with Sam, it's like always thinking about the business, always thinking about Sofia, always thinking about the kids. And it's like Anna feels kind of like a second thought at this point in the plot line.
Not even a second thought, like a 50th
Third.
thought. All these things come before Anna.
Exactly. There's like 1,000 other priorities before Anna. And Robin just doesn't treat Anna like that, which is I just love Robin.
Yeah, Robin's really charismatic and just kind of fun,
I also feel like Robin is at least like upfront with like their flaws, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh my God. I've been in this like point where I was like between somebody who claimed they wanted like a serious relationship and somebody who was like super like non-committal. And honestly, my personal connection to the person who was non-committal but upfront about that lasted longer because we were just really honest with each other and
Yes.
comfortable. And the person who claimed to want a serious relationship was really unstable, which reminds me of Sam.
Yes.
And it's like, just go for somebody who's honest about their intentions and you can actually like feel comfortable with them. Because you're never comfortable around Sam. You're just not.
Because you know that what's coming out of Sam's mouth is like bullshit.
Yeah.
Literally. So later, Sofia and Sam will make a toast. Sofia will begin, and Robin will comment that Sofia had a ghostwriter to write her toast. So like we love someone who plans ahead. Sam will begin to make a very impassioned speech about love, but Sam will just be looking at Anna the entire time. I just rolled my eyes for everyone's sake. Again, I just don't believe this bullshit. And then Sofia will say, I love you to Sam. And just kind of like the more that Anna looks at Sofia standing up there with like the engagement ring on her finger, the angrier that Anna gets. So there is a diamond option where Robin will offer to kiss Anna to make Sam jealous. Did you take this option? Do you recall? Or even if you don't recall, would you take this option?
I did. Well, okay. So I don't think I did in my first playthrough, but I think I kind of would. I might or I might not in the if I was to do it now, because I would want to kiss Robin genuinely and not just as a play to, get back at Sam. Oh, by the way, I did notice that during the speech, Sofia says that they've been together for like 8 months. And if they got together over the summer, that'd mean like this takes place in like February through April. And that has me wondering, how are the kids getting educated? Do they go to school? Are they homeschooled? Like is there private school?
I have to imagine they're not going to like school, because if Sam is like too afraid for them to take the subway, I don't think he would send them to public school. I wouldn't be surprised if they were being homeschooled.
Yeah, and well, that would make a lot more sense why they would want somebody who has a fucking master's degree in chemistry. But then again, she's like fucking teaching magic treehouse books to these kids probably. And
yeah, I mean, we don't really get any hint that Anna's actually helping them with their education, other than like when they go on these kind of like outside excursions and she starts to explain stuff to them,
Yeah, I feel like they would either be in private school or they'd be homeschooled, to be honest. And either way, it's just like, we're here for the kids. Did Pixelberry like even think about that? Did they tell us? Like,
no.
Pixelberry doesn't care about the kids.
The kids are just a plot point for Anna to like be there at this point.
I love how you just blaze past these things, and I'm like, well, what about this? What about that? Like,
I have strong opinions about this book.
I'm the nitpicky one now.
So
Also, I love how Sam was literally just fucking calling Robin and Anna out in front of everyone because they're all like, aren't they like all over each
yeah,
other?
they're all okay. Let's wait until we get to that point to go into this. So I will say I did take this diamond option. I mean, when I just think Robin's like fine as hell. I'll take any excuse to kiss Robin. And also, why not make Sam mad? Like at this point, like Anna's getting like pissed off. I'm like, girl, get your revenge. So if you do take the scene, Anna will just kind of like start to make out with Robin, which will start to distract Sam during their speech. Robin and Anna will trade some like dirty talk to each other, which is probably like the only part of like this book so far that I've been like genuinely kind of like into from a sexual standpoint because like at one point Robin says something like, "Oh, I'm not above like begging for it," and I was like, "This is hotter than any scene that I've had with Sam so far." Um, and like you said, at some point Sam will actually call Robin out for not paying attention, which is super uncomfortable because there's like an entire crowd of people there to celebrate the engagement, and Sam's like, "Yo, in the back, stop that." And then there's actually like, because Robin kind of gets back into it with Sam too, so they're kind of like yelling at each other over this
I love
crowd
how
of people, crowd of media. Like it's so uncomfortable.
I love how Sam's trying to be daddy, but he ain't earned it.
Ooh. Yeah, Sam just can't keep their cool, and it's like actually kind of worrisome.
Yeah, it's just kind of like, Sam, get your shit together.
Yeah, maybe don't start like an entire argument over the group of like media people that are at your engagement party. It's quite quite
The
awkward.
the only people who are really looking good here are Sophia, because Sophia in this whole party did nothing wrong. And you know
Literally did
what?
nothing wrong.
Robin and Anna, I'll give them a pass because they're like, sure, they're being a little bit inappropriate, but like,
They're in the
if
back of
they're,
the room.
yeah,
Like who the fuck's looking at them?
and
Except for
like,
Sam.
not to be mean, but Anna is the help, of course, and like she has nothing to do right there. So
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty typical that in the back of the party, usually the people who sit all the way in the back like aren't necessarily paying the fullest amount of attention. I'll tell you what, every single like banquet or whatever you want to call them that I've been to where there's like a portion of the speech, there's always people talking in the back. That's just like typical.
yeah,
Everyone
and
talks
like
during the speech.
Sam's just fucking overreacting.
Sam's just being, as Anna could have said in the previous diamond option, unusually possessive.
Now it's usually possessive.
Yeah, at this point. So Sophia will angrily ask Sam to just pay attention to the toast. Reasonably, I understand that request, which will end the diamond scene. So Anna will go to the bathroom to get some air. Sophia will come in asking Anna how they're doing and kind of noting their behavior with Robin. Sophia will also comment that Anna seemed pretty overwhelmed and that she asked Sam to not even invite Anna because she was concerned that Anna wouldn't be able to handle the event. And then Sophia will leave the conversation saying that Anna could just leave early if she wants to.
I mean, she's not wrong.
She's not wrong. I mean, listen, Sophia read Anna to filth, but she was not wrong about anything that was happening there.
She could have
So
said it in a nicer way, but like, to be
Sophia
honest, the
doesn't.
kids
Here's the
the
thing:
kids
Sophia never has to mince words in order to get what she wants. So she's like, I
Anna
don't give
and
a
the
fuck.
kids didn't need to be there. We'll just say that. Like,
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I agree with her. I'm not. I don't agree with her that like Anna couldn't handle the event. Like Anna's an adult. I'm sure she knows how to conduct herself at a wedding, like an engagement party. But the twins shouldn't have been there in the first place.
no, and Anna should have been there to, like, take care of them. And
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Carter, the driver, is having to deal with the boys
Yeah.
when that's not even his job. Sam has a pattern of apparently wanting people to do things that aren't really their job. Like, he had his fucking nanny plan his engagement party. Like, dude, that's not her job description. And then Carter's doing fucking childcare, and it's like, that's not his job description.
I don't know. I feel like with rich people, they just kind of use their help to do whatever they want. And I'll blame the engagement party stuff on Sophia because, like, that was kind of her call. I don't really even remember Sam being there in that scene.
I don't fucking remember that scene because it was not
Yeah, I don't remember that
memorable.
scene either. Okay, so at this point, after getting completely read by Sophia, Anna will escape to the rooftop. Robin will come up to come check on Anna, and Robin will admit that they know that Sofia and Sam are getting to Anna. So at this point, Robin 100% in line and on board with like everything that's going on right now. So Sam will walk up, starts to scold Robin for spending some more time with Anna, because apparently that's legal. And then Anna and Robin will react angrily, revealing that Anna is actually upset because of Sam, which apparently at this point, based off of Sam's surprise reaction, didn't even occur to Sam that maybe this entire thing was upsetting for her. So Robin will leave, and Anna will confront Sam about all of their intimate encounters, and Sam will smooth it over, saying that they just want to kiss Anna. So this is another diamond option. Would you have taken this if you were
Hell
playing?
no.
No.
I love how they have a sprite for Sam to have like a shirt unbuttoned and kind of open.
Oh yeah. Well, would it be a porn book without it?
I feel like that's the only notable thing about that scene, aside from like the fact that it's almost in public, but not quite.
Yeah, it's because there's like a window open. So I don't know. They describe the window being open, but I'm like, if there's a window open at a party, like how likely with that many people in one room are you to actually hear anything that's happening out there? I don't think so. I don't think it's a worthy diamond choice. It just doesn't make any sense for Anne to be like, I'm so fucking mad at you for making me your side hoe and just treating me so poorly and making me be a witness this whole thing, and then just like almost fucking him. Like I mean, it's basically a porn scene. Anna touches Sam's genitals. Sam will be like, we have to stop because we've been up here for too long and people will start to get suspicious. And then it'll end. Not really worth it. Afterwards, Anna will see Sofia kiss Sam as she thanks him for the night, and Anna will comment to herself that she is determined to win Sam over, which is really annoying, because I wish that there was a point in the book where, or I wish that, I don't want to say a point because we haven't gotten to later chapters, but I wish at this point Anna figured out that this maybe just wasn't worth the energy unless Sam was like actually willing to do something to prove to Anna that they care about Anna, but it's too early in the book for Anna to come to that realization. We still have to do this puppy dog shit. So I will say 2 questions I have for you about this chapter. At this point, how are you feeling about the relationship with Robin?
I like it. I honestly think Robin's like the most like stable and like honest option. Like
Yeah.
you know what to expect, you know?
Mhm. Yeah, I feel like Robin is very upfront. Just trying to have a good time, trying to be a little bit flirty, thinks that Anna's attractive, wants to get a piece of that. I don't blame him. I really don't. To me, Robin is like the most enjoyable non-Li interaction that I've gotten through this entire book, other than maybe like the twins.
Yeah, I feel like Robin's like the only actually fun part of the book aside from like sometimes with the twins.
Yeah, I agree. And then, did you like the confrontation with Sam in this chapter?
I thought it was a whole lot of nothing and just them retreading just the same ass shit.
Yeah. I think I would have liked it if Anna had actually acted like she had some backbone and like didn't take the diamond scene and was like, "No, fuck you." Like I think that that would have been like a much more satisfying thing. But the fact that you can just basically like give Sam a hand job on the rooftop of his building kind of numbs the whole argument. You know, it's like, "I'm so fucking mad at you. Let me put your genitals into my hands. Let me
Okay.
angrily jerk you off." Like it just it really like just dumbs down the entire argument. It just makes it completely useless.
Now I'm wondering, like, okay, so if Anna gives Sam a hand job and like everything finishes, what if somebody comes out onto like the balcony and is like, oh
No,
God.
don't go here.
People have to clean places, you know? Like, I don't know. That's what I was thinking about because Sam and Anna is just so uninteresting.
Just a bukkake on the balcony, bukkake on the rooftop. I don't even know what you would call that for like the female version of Sam. I don't even know
Squirt.
if there's a comparison.
Squirt.
A squirt. Oh yeah. Ah! No. Oh move on. Okay, so the next chapter is chapter 7 called The New Rules, and the chapter summary is life with Sophia around isn't easy, but you're determined to not let her get to you. So,
Sure, Anna.
right, exactly. The chapter flash forwards to a week after the engagement party. Anna and Sam will meet in the kitchen, and Sam will mention Anna's plan to take the kids to Coney Island. Sophia will walk in and interrupt the conversation and begins to not only disrupt their breakfast plans, but also the Coney Island plan. So you can still decide to go with the twins. It's a 15 diamond choice scene. Would you have taken this scene?
I'm sometimes cheap, so probably not. I mean, if I had like a shit ton of diamonds, I probably like might have done it, but just
Yeah.
wasn't like worth it to me.
I didn't buy this option. I was originally playing the game for the first time. I did watch it on YouTube, but it just feels like really fluffy. I mean, I do like the twins, but I don't think I like them enough to like buy an entire like diamond choice because of them, if that makes sense. And really,
Yeah.
like the majority of the dialogue is like going through like the carnival games and like going up the Ferris wheel, and I was like, I don't really want to click through all of this shit. Like, I don't really like them like that much. Like, I like when they're being little shits like in the freeze scenes, but not really a scene I would have played for. I think everyone at this point should know that like I'm not really like super into like children, so
Yeah, I don't like
trying to like
kids
bond with them
either.
through the scene is like not my thing.
Two people who don't like kids reviewing a
Surprisingly, did not buy the diamond scene surrounding only the children. So afterwards, if you do take the scene, Sophia will confront Anna about taking the boys to Coney Island without her approval. Sam will defend Anna, and Sophia will storm out. And then Anna and Sam will have a very like lightly flirty conversation before they get interrupted by the boys. If you don't take the scene, you'll go to an art gallery. The twins are not very excited at all about the art gallery, and they'll complain about Sophia the entire time, and Anna and Sophia will still argue when they get home because like the kids will make like some rude quip to her as they're like walking to their room, and it'll start an argument between the two of them. I personally wouldn't take the scene. And you still get like an additional scene. Like that's the thing. The diamond option, most diamond options usually add additional material. And I do think the scene from the Coney Island standpoint is longer, but this is a scene where like you still get to spend time with the boys. There's just like kind of they're just being little brats the entire time. But I do think they're kind of little brats anyways, so
I feel like they're like super freaking like privileged as kids, and it's
yes.
like, oh, you're complaining that you can't go to Coney Island, but you get to go to like an art gallery. Like, so many people can't fucking afford to go to an art gallery. Like, I get that it's kind of wasted because they're what, 7, but it's just not a good look for the kids. I get it though, but yeah, it's just like, guys, y'all are pretty fortunate regardless.
Yeah, I mean they're 7. They're they don't understand. All right, before we move on to the rest of the chapter, let me interrupt to plug our socials. We are at Play Choices Podcast on Instagram and at Play Choices Pod on Twitter. You can also go to playchoicespodcast.tumblr.com for our Tumblr page, which is where I post any episode notes that I have, like links to posts I've mentioned, photos I've mentioned, or more. We're also available for listening on all major platforms, so if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, please rate, review, and subscribe. It's a funky thing with the algorithm that helps us a lot. I wish I could explain it more in depth, but I just know that it helps us, so we do appreciate any reviews that you leave us. And as always, we are a growing podcast, so if you see us pop up on your socials, we do appreciate a share, a retweet, or a reblog, depending on the platform you see us on. We also appreciate it when you share our podcast with your fellow choices-loving friends. And now back to the episode. Okay, so after the scene, Anna will lay in bed hungry because I guess she had like a dinner that Sophia prepared and it was like super low calorie. I don't know if she's vegan, keto, I don't know what she's doing, but it was a very like I think she actually said it was like kale. Like a kale
Yeah,
centric dinner.
there was like kale in there or whatever.
Yeah. So Anna will walk into the kitchen to find food and Sam will be there and Sam will offer to get food with Anna. Did you take this diamond option?
Nope.
I think I did in my playthrough. Did I? Shit, now I can't even remember. Let me just walk through what happens during the diamond scene. I'll comment on whether I like it or not. So Sam will drive Anna to a diner. They will leave Carter at home in order to watch the kids and make sure, they don't get up in the middle of the night. You are given an option to either sit next to or across from Sam, which I thought was interesting because I was like, oh, maybe that will mean like there's no flirting that's gonna happen if I sit across from Sam. But like Anna ends up playing fucking footsies with Sam anyways, so it like doesn't fucking. This is the thing that makes me mad is like if you're gonna give me the option to like try to be like ethical about this relationship whatsoever, like I feel like they give you a lot of options that look like you're gonna be the good guy if you pick it, and then you're just not. And it's very frustrating because it no matter what happens, you end up flirting with Sam.
Yeah, it's single LI books apparently.
I guess it's not necessarily. I don't have an issue with Anna flirting with Sam, but it's just like it feels like it's kind of like a bait and switch from a choice's perspective because it's like you have all these options where it looks like you're gonna call Sam out on their bullshit, but it ends up just being a flirt. It looks like you're gonna put some physical distance between you two, but then Anna finds a way to like basically give Sam like a foot job under the table. And it's just super frustrating because I'm like, there are subtle ways where like you can build in a forbidden romance without Anna like throwing herself at Sam the entire time. And to me that would be like a much more kind of like thrilling affair for me personally as a reader than than getting all these options to fake out like you're not going to do anything with Sam and like ugh. No matter what I do, Anna throws herself at Sam, and like I just want to be coy about it.
we're not allowed to. We're basically not allowed to really influence Anna's actions like very much as compared to like maybe like Ride or Die. We're not allowed to influence
Yeah.
how Anna's like gonna choose to go about things, and it's like it's a little bit annoying to feel like the decisions you make aren't like gonna amount to anything, that they're just kind of there for decoration.
Yeah, if I pick something that is very clearly like they give you and they juxtapose these choices. Like here's a very obviously flirting one, here's one that's a little bit more coy, but then you pick the coy one and it ends up being like super fucking like lewd anyways. It's like what is the point? Just write it into the scene. Just write her fucking towing Sam's thigh into the scene if that's gonna happen anyways. Like God. It's like I have no issue with the book ending the same way, regardless of like whether you play very sexually or very coy, but like at least make the means to the end different. Make it like a slow burn kind of thing, not referencing the book, but like an actual slow burn type of romance if you're gonna play coy, you know?
Yeah, like also that waitress was like in way too good of a mood, and like I
Yes.
freaking hate that trope where it's like, "Oh, you guys are a couple, aren't you?" And then they're like they're not together and they're just like I mean, it's cute when it's done right, but it's kind of just cringy in this respect cuz Anna's like, "Oh, how did you know?"
Yeah, she's definitely. I think she's putting forth some manifesting vibes in this scene of like, yes, one day we will be a couple. um, so yeah. So moving past the footsies comment, Anna will begin to panic after she orders food, and then she'll admit that she feels bad because she thinks that this is a date, but Sam is like engaged, so she's like, I'm living in this like it is kind of an interesting sentence at least for Anna to like admit that like I am interpreting this in a way that like I don't think you are and it's kind of fucking me up. And Sam will apologize saying that they didn't invite Anna out to make her feel bad, which like is oh my god, it's like not even an apology, dude. Like just admit that you know what you're doing with with these type of situations and then Anna will just basically tell Sam like let's just pretend and just be normal for one night and just like enjoy the food instead of like trying to solve this right here and there, which I understand maybe a conversation about an affair would really ruin the milkshake they had. I don't want to talk about that either when I'm sucking on a cookies and cream milkshake, but
Was it worth the diamonds?
I think if they had actually like gone a little bit more into the dialogue of Anna being like, fuck, I'm like living in this fantasy and like you're so not here with me, that would be more interesting.
Oh, yeah, it's like they just kind of want to tease that kind of actually interesting content.
Yeah, I agree. It's like they really skimmed it on the surface. I mean, I know they're building up to like a, they're obviously at some point in this book they're going to have a larger conflict over this, but it's just not going to happen this early on into the book, which is fine. They have to build and shit, whatever. And then afterwards, Sam will get a call from their mother asking to meet Anna, and the chapter ends. So get the impression that maybe in the next chapter we'll have like a parent visit.
Why do the grandparents want to meet like the
That's
nanny?
the
Like it
weirdest
doesn't
fucking thing. I
matter.
mean, like, I guess, like, on one point, I'm like, okay, maybe you want to meet the woman who's, like, spending all of their time with their grandchildren, right? But also, I feel like if I had a babysitter, like, if I hypothetically had kids and I had a babysitter, would my parents actually want to meet the babysitter? Probably not.
It's not like they're like doing actual. It's not like the nanny is going to be interacting with the grandparents like naturally. They're clearly not going to be around to
Yeah.
see the kids very often. So I
Yeah.
just it's a manufactured conflict.
It's a manufactured, oh my god, maybe one day they will be my in-laws. It's like, that's not what's happening, sis, okay?
Oh my god, one thing I noticed about this chapter was that food was a really interesting theme. And it's kind of got this like class relation to it. Actually, I've seen this
Mm,
for the whole book. Like the healthy food
yeah.
is like this high class bad thing, and like
Yeah.
the good food is like, you know, burgers and Pop Tarts or a toaster, whatever they're called in the Choices universe.
Yeah, it's like all of the unhealthy, quote unquote, unhealthy foods are like an indulgence that they have to like eat behind doors. And then like Sophia's like, this, first of all, there was like a mushroom and like Swiss and spinach omelet. I was like, that's just gonna taste good as fuck. Why? I mean, I get Anna had already made the bacon or waffles, whichever you picked to make breakfast for that morning, but like, have y'all ever had a mushroom and spinach and like Swiss omelet? That shit is tight.
Like I'm a really picky person, so it wouldn't have been up my alley, but I love
Mm-hmm.
me some oatmeal, you know, and it's just kind of really interesting that they've made food this really weird theme. And it's as somebody who has, you know, delved into disordered eating, I'm like better now and stuff, but it's just kind of like weird to me
Yeah.
because like it's just genuinely giving this kind of really weird value to food, which is,
Yeah.
you know, just food. Like
Yeah. It's
it,
literally just food. And then, like, even going back to the whole scene where they were cooking for Sam's dinner, Sam's birthday dinner, and Carter was like, you can either make something gourmet, which is like a couple of leaves and like what looked like a fucking fried fig or something. Like, and then the other option was like a burger, and it's like picking the seemingly more low calorie option if I'm assuming that entire dish is just vegetables, like, is the gourmet one, and then like the burger is like the more like, no, we're down to earth here kind of thing. I don't really understand it. Yeah, it does really make it seem like only rich people. I mean, I'm gonna say the sentence, I'm gonna explain my thoughts. It does make
okay.
it seem like only rich people can afford to eat healthy, which in a certain sense of the word is true. Like, for people below the poverty line, getting fresh fruit and produce is not always the most like realistic thing to do if you're on a very strapped budget for food. But
Yeah.
like, I'm not I'm very much middle class personally, me in real life. And like, I can afford like produce and stuff, and I'm not rich by any means.
Yeah,
And then
and
like Anna, who makes like a reasonable salary, is like, I only eat burgers and milkshakes.
yeah, it's so weird because like burgers, you can actually make them pretty healthy. Just last night, I got like some whole wheat buns. I made like a turkey burger. I put it in some
Mhm.
Worcestershire sauce or whatever. I marinated it in that, cooked it on the stove with a little bit of olive oil and salt, and then I put it on some tomato and spinach, and that was delicious. And I had some carrots on the side. That's a pretty healthy burger. And it's just not that like it's not so black and white and like weird like that. Like I
Yeah.
get that kids are going to want to eat sugary unhealthy things, but like you should be feeding your kids healthy food. And honestly, those
Yeah.
waffles weren't like that bad. They had fruit on them. Like
I feel like also we have to take into consideration that everyone's definition of like what is healthy food is different. Like, some people think of it strictly in like fat content. Some people think of it in how much protein a food gives you. Some people think of it in terms of calories. like you can eat a very high calorie meal and like have like lower calorie meals and like still be eating like what is quote unquote a healthy amount of calories for each person. Some people are trying to gain weight, some people are trying to lose weight, some people are trying to maintain. Some people think something is healthy because it's non-GMO. Some people think something's healthy because it's keto or paleo, or it's vegan or vegetarian or dairy free or gluten free. There's 1,000 different ways. Like everyone's version of like what is healthy is different. For me personally, a regular cheeseburger with like beef, I don't think is that unhealthy, especially if you eat like a balanced diet for the rest of the day.
Yeah,
So they're definitely coming at it from a very specific definition of like what is healthy or not, which is interesting. I guess I had never stopped to think about like the way that they kind of use food to be like a class divider between Anna and like the rest of the people who are kind of like at Sam's level in society.
yeah. I mean, like, this is like what, New York, so there would probably be like maybe food deserts around there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, especially in the neighborhoods where people might not, be able to afford like fresh produce. But yeah, it's just something I noticed, and I was like, okay, this is really weird.
Yeah, that is also a good point, because I think like I make a pretty decent like living where I am currently, but like if I was in New York, I'd be living with like 4 other roommates right now. So yeah, I can see how like probably the shit that, and I'm assuming Sofia comes off to me as the person who like buys like organic only produce. I'm willing to bet she has like an assistant that like ran to the farmer's market or something for her, or like Whole Foods, I don't know, her Fresh Market or Sprouts or whatever like other like higher class grocery retailer there is.
I love how our ending discussion is like just
Just
food.
about food. Well, we still have bingo. We can do bingo, and we can
Ooh.
use that to buffer. So let's flip to bingo. Um, I'm gonna read the prompts off, and then you'll just help me decide which one you want to scratch off.
Okay.
Okay. So MC's boss will offer to break up with his current partner to be with MC. No.
Nope.
MC or her boss will stop the relationship because they feel guilty about the affair. I feel like we're
Sam's
getting
just
closer to that, but I don't think it's happened.
Sam's still stringing Anna along,
Yes.
definitely.
Yeah. MC will insist her boss ends their current relationship, but they are resistant.
They're
Did she
they're
do
they're
this?
getting to that point. Like, this is a build-up chapter, I think.
Yeah. At this point, she is expressing frustration with the situation, but I don't think she's explicitly asked Sam, like, break up with Sofia. So MC will use her boss's job as a way to advance her own career. God, I wish. MC will demand more money or benefits to keep the affair secret. No.
No.
MC's boss will make promises to be with her in the imaginary future.
No actual promises that I've noticed.
No, I haven't noticed any dialogue of Sam being like, "We'll be together one day." No. Sam really does skirt around the issue as much as possible.
Yeah.
MC's boss will stay with their partner regardless of their promises of the future.
No promises have been made,
No
to be
promises have been
honest.
made, so yeah. I think we could mark that box if Sam was like, actually, I'm ending the affair and I'm going to stay with Sofia. Which that hasn't happened yet.
Nope.
The children will pressure their parent MC to date. No. MC will make a scene at some point and reveal the affair. No.
She kind of started to make a scene with
Started
Robin,
to, but
but
she definitely made a scene, but didn't like reveal the affair.
no.
Actually, I would argue Sam made the scene.
Oh yeah,
Sam was the one screaming at him.
Sam was like, "Hey, stop this!"
Yeah. So awkward. MC will attend events where it makes no sense why she's there, making everyone curious.
Yeah, basically, because the paparazzi literally ask, "Oh, who are you?" And she'd be like, "No comment," or she's like, "I'm the nanny," or like some other option that I forgot.
I think it was like, I'm a young woman who's looking to make a name for myself out on these streets.
Oh my god.
I'll mark that.
Yeah.
Because it does make the media curious. Like, the media is like, who are you and why are you here? So I'll mark that. The media will find out about the affair and make it a big deal. No. The children will walk in on MC and their parent banging. No.
Oh, poor
MC's
kids.
boss's partner will be unaware of the affair and will be shocked when they find out. No. MC's boss's partner will know about the affair the whole time and be cool with it. I mean, we don't really know that yet. MC and her boss will bang in the common area of the house. No. MC's boss's partner will agree to deal with the affair and stay in their relationship. Again, we haven't gotten to a reveal. MC will lose the kids at some point. No.
A little bit, because like MC loses track of the kids at the party, but she didn't fully like lose them, because like then they turned up deciding to do their poorly thought out icing balloon prank. But that's kind of like a if you really want to stretch.
Well, how would you define this? Like, because I remember last time I talked with Lucas about it, he was like, losing the kids could be like a physical loss, or it could be like an emotional one where like they turn on her. I mean, it was temporary, but I'm trying to think forward. I don't think there's really.
Was the intention like when this was made to be like, oh, she just kind of isn't doing her job, like she neglects her job?
So since I made the bingo, like I feel like I don't feel appropriate trying to define what this means for the other person that I'm talking it out with, you know?
To me, it sounds like she physically like she doesn't really pay attention to her job,
Mm-hmm.
and by virtue of that, like the kids kind of
Right.
go a little bit missing. I mean, it's a closed party, so they couldn't have gotten far, but it's still like, Anna, get your shit together.
Well, I'll leave it up to you. Do you want to mark it?
I don't think we get anything as. Yeah, I think we should, because like it's like very little happens in this book. Just we'll get this one little joy.
Yeah. I agree. Especially because we're in the bottom of the bingo, and the bottom of the bingo is like, it's looking a little unmarked, you know? We'll go ahead and mark that one. And then the last one is there was a very dramatic breakup at some point. I mean, they haven't broken up. It's getting dramatic in here, but I wouldn't say that they've broken up. By any means.
They would.
We wish. We wish that Anna would gain some self-respect, but that has not happened yet. Okay, so cool. So we marked off 2 things. So I would say, are we any closer to getting bingo? I mean, I guess theoretically, but like not really. Not really. Okay, so that's the end of our episode. Thank you so much, Cath, for joining me, entering the passenger seat on this episode, and hopping into a book that I don't know. Did you like this book when you first played it?
I didn't love it when I first like played it, because I was coming back to the Choices app and I was like, oh, this looks interesting, and then I was like, okay, and that was about the warmest I felt towards it. I know I spent a little bit of diamonds at first, but not a whole lot. So
well, I do appreciate you struggling with me through this book.
Oh, I came up with all these little nitpicks for you to just spice things up.
Just because, it's what we do here on Play Choices Podcast. We pick and we pick and we pick. Until the story just falls apart. Some books require more picking than others. It just is what it is,
We're vultures.
We are. I keep saying in the episode, like, oh no, I actually do like this book, and then I'm like, when did I start to like this? I don't recall, like, replaying it. I'm like, when did I start to like this? It's not. There definitely are scenes that I think are better than others, but on the whole, it's not like. I don't know. I think I just hyped it up in my head out of memory for whatever reason. But yeah, thanks so much for struggling with me through this book then.
Thanks for having me.
And we'll see y'all on the next episode. Bye.
Bye-bye.